Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today we want to present our final report for Introduction to Database System ITS 232 for our dearest lecturer, Madam Nur Jazlina. So our final report is about ordering system for grocery store. And before that, I want to introduce my fellow members that have put in for this report. So first we have our interviewer, Fatin Nur Ayuni. Next we have our system analyst, Siti Fatihah. Then we have our researcher, Nur Jazlina. Also we have Ahmad, our data analyst. And finally myself, Akmal, as data compiler. Database is a computer structure that stores a collection of end-user data. Database also exists in applications like WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, and also Twitter. While Database Management System, or DBMS, is a collection of programs that controls data. Nowadays, almost every big company use DBMS to store all their data for company. DBMS play a very important role on storing and retrieving any data regarding works and profiles for every company. So as for in this study, our chosen company's name is Nmjt Enterprise, which is a grocery store in Kampung Teluk, Pulau Perak. And this company is being run by Mr. Ramzi bin Ismail along with his wife, Mrs. Nur binti Siti. So this company has a big goal, like establishing many franchises and becoming a thriving shop in business. But we found that this company has a few problems. One of the problems is they make a mistake for quantity and type of items need to be bought from supplier. Second is, they falsely list the ordering item in the ordering book. And the third one is, they have problem in storing and retrieving receipt. These problems would lead to a lengthy development because it takes time to fix it manually. So in order to prevent or fix these problems, we create a DBMS using IBM DB2 software for the company to store and retrieve all their data so that the company can run smoothly and increase their profits throughout the time. So our main objective is to suggest a database for Nmjt Enterprise, to make a report systematically, to make an easier way to be ordered, and the personal data should be separate from the firm data.
This is our relation scheme. As we can see here, this is ERD for our project. The relationship between supplier table and product table is one-to-many, where each supplier can supply by many products. The relationship between product table and order table is supposed to be many-to-many, where each product can contain in many orders. We create order detail table to link between product table and order table because they have many-to-many relationship. Next, relationship between order table and invoice table is one-to-one, where each order can contain in one invoice. And the last, relationship between invoice and supplier that have one-to-many relationship, where each supplier can receive many invoice.
For data definition language, which is DDL, first of all, we must create our database. We name our database based on our company's name, which is Nmjt. So we type the command to create the database, which is create database Nmjt, then we run it. After that, we connect to the Nmjt to proceed the next step, which is create table. So this project consists of 5 tables. The first one is supplier. So this is the command for supplier table that consists of the column's name, their data type, and first string. And not to forget, the primary key also need to be included. So here is the result. The next table is product. So this is the command for product table. Actually, the command for product table just same with supplier table. But this table has command for foreign key, which is foreign key, supplier ID, references, supplier. So here is the result. Then we create invoice table. So this is the command for invoice table. The command for invoice table same with product table. Have command for primary key and foreign key. So here is the result. Next, we create order table. So this is the command for order table. The command for order table just same with invoice table and product table. Have command for primary key and foreign key. So here is the result. And lastly is order details table. Order details table actually is a bridge for order table and product table. So this is the command for order details table. Just same with other table, but this table has command for composite key, which is order ID and product ID, and command for foreign key, which is foreign key, order ID references, order and product ID references product. So here is the result.
Let's move to the next slide, which is data manipulation language. The first part for our DML question is about simple query. So the first question is find a report from supplier that consists of supplier ID, supplier name and supplier address where the supplier lives in Tapa. So this is the query and this is the result. Second one is list all product ID, product name, product price and expiry date for the product that will expire in 2021 and arranged by product name. So the below one is the query and the result. The last question for simple query is find the order ID and product ID where the order quantity is more than 50 units of items. So the below one is the result and also the query. The next question is about joint query. So the first question is produce a report that lists supplier name, supplier ID and product name. Sequence the report on supplier ID within the supplier name within product name. For the result, we can see that the result is sequenced by the supplier name, supplier ID and also product name. The next question is for product ID 001, display the supplier ID, product ID and order quantity. Order the list by product ID ascending. So we can see the result and the query as shown. The last question for joint query is list supplier ID, product name, product price and invoice number where product price not exceed 5 ringgit. Order by supplier ID. So this is the query and we can see all the result of all product that is below 5 ringgit.
Data manipulation language. Column function. For the first question, for all products, display supplier number and the total of all products for each supplier. Name the derived column as total product. Select supplier ID, count prod ID as total product. From product, group by supplier ID. Number 2. For all orders, display the supplier number and the sum of order quantity for each supplier. Name the derived column as order count. Select supplier ID, sum, order quantity as order count. From order, order details, where order ID equals to order ID, group by supplier ID. Here is the output. Number 3. Show the average of total price for each invoice. Display the invoice number, supplier number, and the average of total price. Name the derived column as average total price. Select invoice no, supplier ID, decimal, average total price. 9(2) as average total price from invoice. Group by invoice no, supplier ID. Here is the output. Next, subquery. Number 1. List product ID and product name with order quantities greater than 50. Select prod ID, prod name from product, where prod ID in select prod ID from order details where order quantity greater than 50. Here is the output. Number 2. List products which the price is greater than or equal to the average price of all products plus 3 ringgit. Display product ID, product name and product price. Select product ID, product name, product price from product where product price greater and equal. Select average product price from product plus 3. For the last question of sub-query, display the product ID, product name, expired date, and product price for the lowest product price. Select product ID, product name, expired date, product price from product where product price equal to select mean product price from product. Here is the output.
So in a nutshell, we can conclude that Database Management System, DBMS, is a really helpful program that helps people to store all important data from time to time.
That's all from our group. Thank you.